The South African government is attempting to repatriate citizens in foreign countries who are wanting to come back home. Yesterday, 8 South Africans who were stuck at Dubai International Airport returned. They have been quarantined now for 14 days. Well, we continue to track this story. Let's unpack it further now with my colleague Heidi Giokos. Heidi, good morning to you. I was just wondering, do we have a number? How many South Africans are stuck elsewhere in the world that government is considering to assist to return?
Well, Bradan, we understand that Govt has given a number of 1,471 South Africans that are stuck abroad, but we do understand that it might be a lot more than just that number that's been given to Govt. A number of people have been emailing and trying to call the numbers provided by Govt for them to try and get back into the country. Many people are extremely desperate and they're saying they're running out of their chronic medication. They've left people here, their parents, their elderly parents, their children. So it doesn't seem very promising for them, but we understand that Govt is trying to communicate with them to get them back into South Africa.
Yeah, the Minister Naledi Pandor just a couple of days ago saying they'll do as much as they can to help, but they can't do everything. Have you managed to make contact, Heidi, with any of the families of some of those South Africans who are stuck overseas?
Unfortunately, we haven't made any contact with them, but we did try and speak to somebody who was actually on the flight yesterday. It was a cargo flight from Dubai International Airport that landed in Johannesburg yesterday at about 3 o'clock, and we understand that there were 8 South Africans on that flight. They managed to book a ticket on there. They were sleeping at the airport for several days. They were transit passengers that were just caught in this lockdown that's happening across the globe, and they managed to get back into South Africa. So it's not an easy process for many, and even though these 8 South Africans are back in the country, they need to be in isolation for 14 days, and we actually followed that bus being transported to ESCOM Academy Learning Centre, where we understand there is a hotel there, and they will be quarantined there for 14 days. So even though they're back, they need to be away from their families until they can retest again, because we understand that they did test before they left Dubai, and those tests came back negative, but they will obviously have to retest after the 14 days.
Yeah, I understand from the reports I've seen earlier on eNCA that you've done, Heidi, that we're dealing here with a combination of South Africans who are stuck elsewhere. Some of them are students who have been studying in other countries. Others are tourists who are traveling. Others are people who are doing contract work or working or employed in one shape or form in different countries.
Yes, most definitely. We know it's a combination of South Africans who are stuck abroad. Many went on holiday not realizing how serious this pandemic actually is. Many are working abroad. Many are students. So we understand that the government is trying to prioritize those who are in desperate need, specifically students who might not have the financial means to come back to South Africa. Also those who have just run out of money. We've spoken to a number of South Africans across the globe, especially in Italy, where they're saying they are running out of money. They don't have more money to be, living in these hotels. They're running out of money for food. Many are saying they can't even get out to get their chronic medication. We've spoken to a couple that's in Morocco, and they've basically explained to us that they are running out of medication. They don't have their chronic medication. So Govt has a very tough task ahead of them to try and get these South Africans back who are so desperate and who find themselves in very difficult situations like chronic medication, or who have left very young children back here in South Africa. When they left, they obviously didn't know there was going to be a lockdown across the globe. So hopefully Govt can provide a solution for them. We know SAA is trying to get foreign nationals in South Africa back to Germany. We know that's going to be taking place tomorrow, but hopefully SAA can be roped in to assist South Africans who are stuck abroad.
Now, very briefly, Heidi, while we've got you there from the newsroom, what timeline has been set? I mean, is there a particular date by which the government is going to try to bring them back, or is the situation very fluid?
It's very fluid, Bradan. We just don't have a timeline. We have no details from Govt. We're trying to get clarity on, is there a timeline? Are we waiting for the lockdown to be over in order for these South Africans to come back? What is the situation? We just don't know, and we are trying to seek further clarity for all those South Africans who are stuck abroad.
On the ball as usual. Thank you very much, Heidi Giokos.